Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we are strapping in for a really philosophical journey. We're looking at some source material titled Playing Human.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff. And it's not just theory, is it? This material really challenges how we think we interact with reality itself.
Absolutely. So our mission today is to break down what the source calls this highly personalized formula, the formula you contribute to the game of life.
Right, we're kind of figuring out let's say, the math behind your everyday existence based on this perspective.
And it kicks off with a pretty bold claim, doesn't it? It basically says your daily experiences, they
Yeah.
aren't random.
Not at all. The source insists they're a direct, and this is a quote, reflective reaction in matter to our own frequency and being.
Wow. Okay, so everything you experience is a mirror.
That's the core idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. If we accept that everything perfectly matches our internal state, our vibration, well, it means we're not just victims of circumstance.
And the material uses something called the injection metaphor to explain how this reality gets built, right?
Precisely. Let's definitely unpack that injection metaphor because, like you said, it feels foundational.
Okay, so what is it? How does it work?
It's essentially saying that what we actively introduce into our experience, that defines the entire system we live in.
So looking at the Life on Earth section, it's about inputs dictating outputs.
Exactly that. The quote is stark. What we inject into our system becomes our system. So you inject love, love becomes your kind of operating system.
And if you inject fear,
Then fear becomes the landscape. It shapes what you perceive, what happens next.
it sounds like, well, a huge amount of self-responsibility, almost terrifying.
It is radical, yeah.
So if I wake up, read some bad news, and immediately inject, say, fear and anxiety,
Mhm.
does the source mean my whole day will then perfectly reflect that state? Is it instant?
The source suggests it's both. It's cumulative, definitely, but that immediate frequency drop starts formulating in the next moment.
Right.
Think of it less like just passively experiencing things and more like programming software. Garbage in, garbage out. But the garbage here is your dominant emotional state.
Right, so we're not just reacting to life. We're constantly adding the primary ingredient, which brings us neatly into part one, the architecture of our experience. And maybe, surprisingly, it starts with limitation.
And that limitation is the self. The source says humans are restricted by, well, two main things.
Okay.
One is their core consciousness vibration, their baseline frequency. The other is their attachment to the experience of ourself.
Attachment to the self, meaning ego or something else.
It seems to encompass ego, yeah, but also just the whole story we tell ourselves about who we are. And that attachment, the source claims, fosters this deep need for control.
Trying to control the reflection.
Exactly. Instead of changing the source, the thing being reflected.
That really rings true for so many people. And the source criticizes this constant looking outside ourselves, doesn't it?
It does. It points out this contradiction. We are always looking for something outside ourselves to give us what we already have.
Like a new relationship or a better job.
Yeah.
Thinking that will fix things.
Right. Or looking for others to define us when, and again, this is a quote, we already truly know who we are deep down.
What's fascinating is how clearly the source frames our current position. It
Yeah.
says, there is nowhere to go because we are already here.
Yeah, that line is powerful. All that restless searching, needing external validation. It's basically, according to this, a waste of energy built on fear that we're somehow incomplete right now.
And if we just fully showed up in the present,
The search ends because there's nothing missing.
you know that searching often drives people towards trying to medicate the moment, trying to numb the discomfort.
It does, but the sources put a really interesting twist on this idea of medicating.
How so?
It argues that our greatest medicated source is our thinking. Not necessarily chemicals, but our own thoughts.
Our thoughts are the drug.
In a way, yes. Whether the relief we seek is, chemical or something natural like meditation even, it's ultimately fed by the springs of our thinking and beliefs.
So our thoughts are like the prescription we're constantly writing for our own reality.
That's a great way to put it, yeah. If you constantly think the world is hostile, you're actively prescribing experiences of hostility for yourself.
Okay. And if our thinking is medicated in this way, how does that translate into action? This brings us to something tricky. The protesting paradox.
Ah, yes, this one's counterintuitive for sure.
Because naturally, if we see something wrong, our instinct is to fight against it, right? To protest.
Of course. But the material warns against this quite strongly. It says trying to fix something by protesting against it can actually create more of what you oppose.
Oh, what?
Because of that principle, where our focus goes, energy flows.
Right, I've heard that before. So the emotional context matters hugely here.
Absolutely critical. If you're protesting, say, war, but you're doing it from a place of intense negative fear and anger about the war.
You're actually pouring energy into the vibration of war itself.
That's exactly what the source suggests. If the attachment is negative fear-based, you energetically anchor the very problem you want to solve.
Wow. So the alternative isn't passivity then?
No, not at all. The source implies the solution is to focus on building the reality. You do want peace, sustainability, whatever it is, but from a high vibration state. Love, creation, joy.
Rather than fighting the darkness, you focus on amplifying the light.
Precisely. That shift moves your contribution out of that paradox.
That's a massive perspective shift. Okay, so if we scale this up, how does our individual formula connect to the bigger picture? Part 2, our contribution to mass consciousness.
Right, and this is where the game analogy really comes into play. Life is framed as a playground we call life.
A playground.
Yeah, and every being is empowered and continued into the field of play based purely on their current dominant vibration. What frequency are you bringing to the playground?
So it's not just a solo game. It's like this massive collaborative multiplayer experience.
The ultimate one. And the state of the world we see, politics, society, the environment, is, according to this, a reflection of the mass consciousness frequency.
Which is literally the average vibration.
The median, the median frequency created by over 7 billion human inputs. We're all contributing energetically, consciously or not.
And this leads to some really specific, almost mathematical claims about frequency in the source material, doesn't it? With numbers.
It does. It moves from philosophy towards something that feels almost like energetic physics. It gives specific numbers for emotional frequencies.
We should probably get some context for those numbers, shouldn't we? Where do they come from?
Yeah, it's important. The source uses this numerical scale, likely referencing work like Dr. David Hawkins' mapping of consciousness, to illustrate the power of different states. It's not a literal scientific measurement device in your pocket, but an energetic scale.
Got it. So on the low end, what kind of states are we talking about?
We get clear examples. Low vibe states like obsession vibing at 20 on the frequency chart, or judgment, criticism. That puts you in the 30-50 vibe tribe.
Heavy, draining states.
Definitely. They pull the collective average down.
But conversely, the high-frequency states, joy, love, gratitude, they rate much higher.
Much higher, often cited as 500 to 600 on that same scale. But here's where the math gets really, staggering. The claim about the impact of those high states.
This is the bit about one person shifting millions, right?
Yes. It's probably the most central claim in the mass consciousness section. The source asserts, one person vibing at 500, 600 shifts 10 million people as we are all one, connected.
10 million from one person. That's almost unbelievable. How is that even possible?
Well, the source emphasizes the all one connected part. It's not like we're separate billiard balls. We're nodes in a single energy field.
Okay.
And high-frequency energy, pure love, joy is presented as exponentially more powerful and expansive than low-frequency energy like fear or shame.
So it has a bigger ripple effect.
A much bigger ripple effect. Like a powerful light source illuminating a huge area, or a tuning fork causing others nearby to resonate. That high vibration literally lifts the potential of the surrounding field.
So one person elevating their state makes it easier, energetically, for others around them to choose a higher frequency too.
That's the idea, simply by being in their sort of energetic vicinity.
So self-improvement. It's not selfish at all in this model. It's maybe the most potent form of global contribution.
That's exactly the implication, yeah.
Okay, so practically speaking,
Yeah.
how do we know where we are on this scale? How do we figure out our own dominant frequency?
The material gives a surprisingly simple tool for this, a built-in feedback loop.
Which is?
It says, be aware to how we react to everything in play. Your reactions.
Our reactions, like getting annoyed in traffic.
Exactly. Whether it's frustration over traffic, anger at a colleague, deep peace during a walk, that reaction is an informative center of well-being. It tells you your current frequency.
So the reaction isn't caused by the external event, it's revealed by it.
Precisely. The reaction shows you the internal state that was already there, waiting to be triggered. The event is just the perfect vibrational match to bring it to the surface.
So we can't hide our frequency. Life just keeps showing it back to us.
It's a constant mirror. And if we react intensely to small things, it's not about the small thing, it's about the internal imbalance that matches that low vibration event.
And seeing that reaction is the opportunity.
To heal, to understand yourself better, and consciously adjust the input, adjust the frequency you're injecting.
Reaction as feedback, not destiny. Okay. That leads us into part 3. The only place we can actually make that adjustment is right now in the present.
This links back to that challenging idea about time, that there's truly no future or past.
Which is hard to grasp sometimes.
It is, but if we really lean into it, then all the energy we pour into worrying about tomorrow or replaying yesterday's arguments.
That energy is actually what's creating the content of our present moment.
That's the claim. The source even says when we are truly fully present, there is no memory.
Because memory requires pulling from the past, comparing. A present mind just is.
Exactly. It makes you realize how much power we give those memories and anxieties. We keep them alive with our attention, constantly re-injecting them into our now.
And the source uses an analogy for this shift towards presence, doesn't it? Something about driving a car.
Yeah, the consciousness shift is like learning to drive, moving from a manual transmission to an automatic.
Okay, how does that work?
Well, with a manual, you need intense awareness and focus on every single action, clutch, gears, gas. That's like the stressful, constant control we try to exert over life.
Micromanaging reality.
Right. The goal of the shift is to get the ease of an automatic, effortless flow, but keep the awareness of the manual driver.
Aware, focused, but
Without a need of control. That's the key phrase. The mind operates the system smoothly, without the stress of forcing every little outcome.
and letting go of that need for control. That's what allows us to step into conscious choice.
Absolutely. Real change comes from awareness and ownership of our contribution to the game. We have the ability, the source says, to run a human system by choice, a conscious choice.
But if we're running on autopilot, old beliefs, fears,
And we're missing that choice point entirely. We're just letting the old programming run the show.
and to access that freedom, that conscious choice, we need to master non-attachment, dropping the baggage.
That seems to be the key. The advice is, when entering any new experience, leave the backpack full of beliefs and ways from the past behind.
The goal being,
Play the game, be part of the game, yet not attached to the game.
that sounds tricky. How can you be fully engaged but not care about the outcome?
The source uses this really striking image. The ideal is to win a game without hitting a ball.
Without hitting a ball, how?
It implies success comes from your internal state, your frequency, your flow, not necessarily from intense struggle or emotional investment in one specific result. You align your vibration, and reality reflects that alignment. You don't wrestle it into shape.
Wow. Okay, so let's try to synthesize this. We've talked about injecting our frequency, the limits of self, mass consciousness math, the power of presence and choice. What's the big takeaway?
I think the central point is just how huge our contribution is. We are the field, and our contribution is far beyond a self. Our entire reality, health, relationships, finances, everything reflects our internal frequency.
So if you want things to change,
The only thing you really have to deal with, according to this source, is ourself and being present to this moment. That's the control panel.
so the burden is entirely on our internal state, not really our external actions as much. We're running the show, like it or not.
That's the message. The responsibility is total. You can't really blame a frustrating person or the bad situation, because they are a perfect vibrational match for you, designed to show you your own programming.
Understanding those reactions, that's the key to changing the program. And this is where the source leads us with that final, really profound twist, isn't it?
Yeah, the ultimate reframing.
If every person, every event, every little annoyance is a perfect reflection, then the world itself is constantly giving us opportunities for self-awareness.
The world isn't something to be fixed out there, it's something to be read in here.
That's it. The ultimate realization the material presents. The world is your mirror, end quote. Life itself is the therapist.
Which leaves a really potent question for you, the listener, to sit with.
Right, as you go back into your day. If every single moment, especially the difficult ones, is like a therapy session designed just for you, how are you listening?
How do you listen to the therapy session life is offering you right now?